We are able to gather here this evening, quite frankly, because we still live in a nation that enjoys more freedom, more liberty, more independence than any other nation on the face of the earth. But we must remember that true freedom is not free, and that liberty and independence always come at a price. Now, I cannot speak for others, but as for myself, I've never had a feeling, politically or patriotically, that did not spring directly from the sentiments embodied in the Declaration of Independence. I believe today, more than ever before, we need to remind ourselves of the great price that was paid for that independence, of how that price was paid, and of who paid it. Because of the many struggles that our nation has endured, we Americans have become more attached to one another, more firmly bound to this country in which we inhabit. And because of the great sacrifices already made, and for the great sacrifices yet to be made, we will all of us be better men, women, and children in this age and time and country in which we live. Now, we speak a lot about rights, freedom, and liberty in this country of ours. I have always believed that each individual is naturally entitled to do as he pleases with himself and the fruits of his labor, so long as it does not interfere with any other man's rights. We speak a lot about liberty, and yet the world has never had a good definition of the word liberty. Now, I hope that this evening that all of us in this room speak out on behalf of liberty. But friends, when we use the same word, we don't all mean the same thing. For example, the shepherd drives the sheep from the wolf's throat, and the sheep praise the shepherd as a liberator, while the wolf, who was only trying to feed his starving family, denounces the shepherd as the destroyer of liberty. It's plain that the wolf and the sheep cannot agree upon what the word liberty means. That same difference prevails among some people in this world today. But I make you this solemn promise. No tyrannical dictator in the world with all the armies of all the earth can ever take by force one drink of water from the mighty Ohio River or leave one single footprint in the Blue Ridge Mountains in the trial of 1,000 years. As long as the lamps of liberty and freedom burn in your hearts, there will never be any doubt that all men are created equal and that God truly does bless America. And my friends, God has blessed America. You know, I get credit for signing an awful lot of documents and proclamations. I signed the Emancipation Proclamation into law January the 1st, 1863. Now, some people said it did too much. Some people said it didn't do enough, but it started a process. But friends, by March of 1863, it was apparent that if this nation was going to be saved, it was going to require something more. So on March the 30th of 1863, I signed another proclamation. This one was calling for a national day of fasting and prayer. And this is what it said. It is the duty of nations as well as of men to owe their dependence upon the overruling power of God, to confess their sins and transgressions in humble sorrow, with assured hope that genuine repentance will lead to mercy and pardon, to recognize the sublime truth announced in Holy Scriptures and proven by all history that those nations only are blessed whose God is the Lord. And insomuch as we know that nations, like individuals, are subjected to punishments and chastisements in this world, may we not justly fear that the terrible calamity which now desolates our great land is but a punishment inflicted upon us for the presumption of our national sins? We have been the recipients of the choicest bounties of heaven. We've been preserved these many years in peace and prosperity. We have grown in numbers, wealth, and power as no other nation has ever grown. But we have forgotten God. We have forgotten the gracious hand that preserved us in peace, multiplied, enriched, and strengthened us. And we have vainly imagined in the deceitfulness of our own hearts that all of these many blessings were produced by some superior wisdom and virtue of our own. Intoxicated with unbroken success, we have become too self-sufficient to feel the necessity of a redeeming and preserving grace, too proud to pray to the God that made us. It behooves us then to humble ourselves before the offended power, to pray for clemency and forgiveness. And when this is done in sincerity and truth, let us rest in the hope authorized in divine teachings that the united cry of the nation will be heard on high and answered with blessings no less than the pardon of our national sins and the restoration of our now suffering and divided country to its normal happy condition of unity and peace. May God bless us all. Amen. Amen.
Welcome, everybody. It's the 38th annual, is this better? 38th annual NSDR banquet. Switch it up a little bit. So I appreciate everybody coming. I appreciate the banquet sponsors. There's a list here. I think it was on the table here. And there's people on this list that sponsored that aren't even here at the banquet. So I think that's great, because it means that there's support out there and they're not just coming to get recognized. They want to support the organization. And I wanted to point out that John and Marlene aren't on this list, but they give every year. We inadvertently left them off the list, but they give every year. And we appreciate the efforts that you guys put in. So. I'm sorry.
Coleman Foster also.
Coleman, okay. Yep, Coleman is another. He could make it tonight, but he's a regular that I've seen here so many times too. So he couldn't make it tonight, but he again sponsored as well. I appreciate everybody coming because there's a little less, but there's I think 2 or 3 different events going on tonight. And I feel blessed that we have people that show up to this one, and I know that you can be pulled in many different directions, but I appreciate everybody and your spouses to attend this one. I think it's great, so I appreciate your input on that. I did want to recognize the 2019 board members. If you could stand up as I call your name. The VP is Don Rinker. Don Ketterling, the treasurer. Of course, Marlene, the secretary. In alphabetical order, Brian Cushing is over here. John Gould. Ash Harrison is over here. John Heifel. Don Kagan. There he is, back there. Don Kagan. Dave Lasso at the camera there. And Kurt Meese. Thanks, guys. I want to, we meet on a regular basis, the board. It's a very strong board. And we meet on a regular basis and we spend hours. I apologize for the hours that it does take, but, and I know you're away from your spouses and you're away from maybe something you'd much rather do than hash out things, on the NSDR board, but I appreciate your efforts and I appreciate everything that you give. It's really a thankless job, as many of these jobs are. So we also have we had an election this year. We had 3 openings for the board, and we've got some new people on the board, or they actually were re-elected. And if you could stand, David Lasso again. His term ended. This is Dave, this is your 3rd term, is that correct? Since 2014.
It is indeed.
Yeah. Don Kagan, this is your 2nd term. And Kurt Meese. I forget what you Kurt. He actually filled a spot and re-elected, so I appreciate you guys stepping up again. I wanted to talk about state of the State of the Union, state of the NSDR. A couple accomplishments that we've had. I tried to go through this pretty quickly, but before now, we never really had a 5-year plan, and we created a 5-year plan, and I think that was, we've been working on that, and we made some major accomplishments toward that. One of them is the website. We're going to hear back on the website, updated the website. But that's the first year after that full rollout, with not a lot of glitches, which is kind of neat to say. I think we have some little tweaking to do on it, but being in the IT business, you roll out a website and not a lot of complaints and not a lot of major issues. I think it's pretty great. So I think we did that, and we did it for a good price. So one thing I wanted to talk about that, and we're going to make a few changes, but one of the things that we wanted to do as we do these updates, and like for instance on the website, is to try to make the job easier for some people. And one of the things that we'd like to start doing is, instead of having Marlene run around and do get the raffle tickets out there, or not the raffle ticket, the banquet tickets out there, buddy, is to go onto the website and just book those tickets. And we'd sure like to have that go, and we want to make sure next year that we can do that with the, as the Life members, we have a special price for Life members, and be able to take care of that. So we'd like to see that happen, so we're not at the last minute doing this, and that would make people's job a lot easier. That's one of the things that we wanted to make a change on. But another big thing, we continued our partnership with NGC as the official grading service of the NSDR. There's not many organizations that can say that, and we're one that can say that they're official grading service for us. We also have a new partnership really with the SSDC, and being able to put any of the NSDR members can go on and put registry sets into the site, and we're utilizing their site to do that. And I think that's kind of neat, but more come out on that. I don't know if a lot of people really know about it, so we'll be getting that info out and how to do it and making sure that it's working properly. But that's kind of neat. And then we kind of kicked off an advertising program. It's not too late, of course. We'd like to see an advertising, and with the packages, we have package deals, and if you have questions, we'd certainly like you to check into that. But we have package deals that will get you in the dealer directory as well as on the website, and it's a pretty good deal on that. So we'd sure like to see it. I think we might be talking about that here in the next few minutes too. But it is not too late to get into the advertising. So some of the goals that I wanted to talk about. Of course, we need to update the 5-year plan. Don Rinker has been handling the 5-year plan, and the chair on that. And so what I'd like to see is some of the changes that we're making are tweaks to the website, as I pointed out. I think kind of increasing our brand for the NSDR brand, and the awareness of the NSDR is part of that. And I think just about every organization, the ANA, just about every club out there, there's a lot of people coming in line here that aren't joiners, and how do we tackle that? And that's one of the biggest things, is how do we get the membership up, and how do we touch those younger members out there? And if you have any ideas, we sure would like to listen to those. But yeah, you've heard the scene. You've heard the phrase, the scene is graying, and I don't know if you grain, the grain here, and you can't fool me. I can see box colors out there in some of you, but because I know what it looks like, So, but it is getting, we are aging, and we need to be able to pull in that younger generation. And they're not big joiners, but we need to look at doing how to do that and come up with an actionable plan. But I don't look at this as just an NSDR thing. This is this is a big thing. This is the ANA's looking at it, I'm sure. The P&G's looking at it. It's something that, how do we tackle this? And we all have to kind of work together. We're all in this together. There's something has to be done. We need to continue to do what we're doing, but we need to do more. And I appreciate everybody doing that. But a couple of things that I'd like to see for the NSDR is that we sponsor a YN at the summer seminar, if you're familiar with it. I think the P&G does that, but I'd like to see the NSDR sponsor somebody. I'd like to put that on the agenda. I'd like to see the NSDR doing that, that we have some type of a program or a challenge or a contest and sponsor a new person.
Show of support by those present.
That sounds good.
Just put your hand up if you're
Yeah, if you like that idea, if you like the ideas, clap, raise your hand. Hey, let's do it.
Aye.
All right. But I think it's a great program. How many people here? How many people here? How many dealers here, or how many members here have actually attended the summer seminar?
Probably 12 times.
Yeah, it's a great seminar. At one time I think maybe a little bit of I don't know. I don't need that. I know how to grade. It's amazing what I learn every time I've attended one of those seminars. Who actually is an instructor at summer seminar? Who's done that before? Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think it's a great program, and I think the NSDR should sponsor somebody on that program.
Since we have so many members in here that are actually instructors, why aren't they doing seminars for the NSDR? Can you
Yeah.
give them reservations so I can just get a visual?
We can probably get a special course.
Could I just get that visual again?
We can get a special course set up with your support of the membership.
Well, you got so many good
but I'd like
ideas.
to-
Just jump on the board.
What I'd like to see is that we put on a seminar for specifically for YNs, and I don't know but I'd like to see the NSDR do that, a seminar specifically for the young numismatists in the hobby. So and put that on at either the ANA summer seminar or at the regional shows. But really what it means is we need to increase the coordination between different organizations, between the ANA, the P&G, coin dealers helping coin dealers. There's a lot of different organizations out there, and we need to start working together a lot more than I think we have in the past. So what's the takeaway? The takeaway is continue to do what we've been doing, but we need to maybe do more. We need to support the local clubs, different organizations, all the different organizations that I talk about. ACTF. I think there's a lot of things going on here that we're gonna have Doug come up and talk about that too. But there's a lot of things that we need to support, and I know that as we do this, many clubs are doing the same thing, and that is they're looking at all of the members like, we need more. We want a handout. We need more money. We need more time. But I think it has to be done. We have to do it. Otherwise, I think the hobby in itself is just going to be changing right in front of us to a way that we don't want it to see it go. You may have some ideas. What are those ideas that you haven't reacted on or acted on? And I'd love to hear them. We need some input. We need some ideas on how to improve what we're doing. There's a quote that I'm sure you're familiar with. I changed it slightly, so it's going to be my quote, but ask not what your club can do for you, but what you can do for your club. That's it's not my quote. I appreciate everybody coming. I thank you for your support. Thank you for continued support financially. I thank you for your support with your time, because I know it takes a lot of time. And let's give each other a hand for coming, and I appreciate it.